One thing you do not want someone to fool you is to make you feel or understand that they know way more than you. Let me explain. In the beginning of my spiritual journey, of my spiritual awakening, like before, I awakened to who I'm truly am, which I'm still learning more about myself. But before that, of course, you will find people that will say, okay, yes, I will help you. I'm going to make you understand certain things, or I'm going to make you see certain things, or blah, 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 blah. And once you allow that person in, because they have to offer. And once they offer, it's like, okay, you giving them consent to be in your energy. So once you allow that person in your life, once that person enters your life and now they're directing your life, they're doing certain things, they're showing you how you start to doing the things that they're teaching you or they're showing you, because you trust this individual to guide you, not knowing that it's probably not something that you were supposed to do, or it's not something that your bloodline was, accustomed to do. So I know a lot of people are not gonna like this video, but me myself, I've dealt with people that would do things, and then I'm like, okay, well, this is normal, this looks normal, and they're saying, okay, this is this, especially Orisha or this Loa or this spirit, this is how you serve them, this is how you do, this is what you do. And now every time the person is having like a spiritual when they are doing this spiritual event. So example, let's say you get initiated to certain things, to a culture or whatever. Let's say you get initiated. Once you get initiated, a lot of time what I usually see when people get initiated, they stay underneath their spiritual parents or that covenant or whatever, and they become like everyone else that's inside that coven or that's inside that environment. See, this is the thing where a lot of people, you can sometimes mess yourself up. And like I said, I know a lot of people are not going to agree with this video, and a lot of them not going to like what I say, but this is my opinion. When you get initiated, you learn what you need to learn from your spiritual people or your spiritual family. But there comes a time where you and those particular individual, you got to separate. You got to go your separate ways. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, you was there. You was meant to be there. You was meant to experience that. You don't do things by accident, just like you don't meet people by accident. It was fated for you to witness that. It was fated for you to experience that. But this is where the test comes in. Now, do you do what you see that has been doing some of these things, the practices has been going on for a very long time? Or do you separate? You don't know who you are. You don't know after your initiation who you really are, the power, the magic you possess, if you're still inside that covenant and you're doing things because that's what they are teaching you. That person is teaching you things out of their own limitation, out of their own capacity. You would not know the power you have until you separate. Not saying what the person is showing you or what they're telling you is not the right thing, but let's say, okay, everyone serve Freda, everyone serve Ezili Danto, or everyone serve Yamaya, Lasiren, Orisha, and all that stuff. The list goes on, Simbi, Ogu, the list goes on. But you would not know there is more Orishas, more spirits, more Loa, if you stay in that covenant, if you stay connected to these people. You understand what I'm saying? Because everyone that's there is thinking and doing the same exact thing. Because everyone has a person that is teaching them out of their limitation, out of their capacity. But when you take that decision to remove yourself, not in a bad way, not saying, yeah, I don't want to be associated, not in a negative, toxic way. No, you see what you need to see, and now you remove yourself from that, and you start learning your own thing. You start learning your stuff. You start healing yourself. You start learning your own things. that's when you'll realize some of the things you was taught was outdated. That's when you will realize there's more Orishas that's never been talked about, not even mentioned in books that you read, because the environment, the covenant, the people you was around is only thinking this much, and they only repeating what was also passed down to them. So if you're still there and doing the same thing, practicing in the same way, you also going to be saying the same thing. You also going to be doing the same thing. You also going to be thinking the same way. You also going to do things the same way. Now you will see yourself just doing the same thing. So you don't really know any more information outside of what that person or that leader is teaching you. You have to spread out. You gain your wings and spread out and see, okay, what else is out there? What else I don't know about myself? You understand? And you know, not to bust anybody's bubble, sometimes when you step out, you start to see that you probably have more power than the person that was guiding you, because the person was supposed to guide you to experience that. But they wasn't meant to lead you. You wasn't meant to be led by them. Enter that covenant. When you enter before your initiation, whatever, you saw everyone is doing things at a certain point, in a certain way. You saw them doing a certain things. You saw them. You witnessed them doing things in their own way. There's a particular way they do things. There's a particular way they say things. But this is what they know. This is their practice. You know, you could be initiated into something to experience something, but you're not meant to stay there. You're meant to experiencing. You see, you kind of have an understanding, and you say, okay, does this resonate with me? No, it does not resonate with me. Okay, time for me to move on. You take a piece of that experience, you take a piece of another experience, you put it together, you move on, and then you start to have your own. Once you start having your own experience, then you have the capacity to think for yourself. If you stay where you at and do what you say, and you don't question anything, because this is what they're going to tell you. This is how it's been done. It's been done for many years like that. This is what we know. Our ancestors been doing this, so no one question everything. You start doing the same thing. So that means you're not thinking for yourself. Someone is doing the thinking for you. And like I said, this video is not for everyone, because, you know, some people, you know, have control issues. You know, they like to control how people think and react and do things. And sometimes you don't know who you really are if you only think and react out of what you was taught. At some point, now let's go back for a minute. You was placed in that environment. Let's say you was placed to get initiated into something, right? You was placed in that environment. This is where the test comes in. And the test is not from man-made. The test is from the universe. The test is from higher power, God, whatever you believe in. You have to know there is something that's greater and bigger than me and you. You, whatever name you give it, it doesn't matter to me. I will still respect that. Now, the test is, I'm going to place you in this environment. You're going to get to see what's going on. Do you, one, continue the cycle, or do you, two, say, hold up, something is not right here. If you do this, you do this, and you do this, this is what you've been doing for many years. What is the result that you got? This is the result. The result is in your face. It's like the universe is saying, okay, this is what they've been doing for a very long time. This is the result they're getting. So now it's put in your face. You see it. You're watching it. It's not something that can be hidden, because if you pay attention, you see everyone not only think the same, but they act the same. they respond the same way. They respond to certain things the same way. So that lets you know this is a cycle that is continuing over and over and over. And do you, one, be the next person that get initiated and repeat the cycle, or do you, two, get next to person that get initiated and you pull back and you figure out what the heck is going on here? How is that all of us is doing the same thing? Why all of us are worshiping the same type of thing? Why are we doing the same type of practice? Why some of our lives look familiar? This is when the universe steps in and say, ha ha, there you go. And then when you start drifting away, then new knowledge gets downloaded into this. So you get to see why certain people do the things that they do. Why we are repeating something over and over and over again, and we are getting the same result. Because there is something either been added or that needs to be removed. Say someone invites you to a spiritual event. You know, in my language, since I'm Haitian, they invite you to a dance. When someone invites you to a spiritual event / dance, they're feeding an entity, a spirit or whatever. And you got to understand that person is doing that for their reason. You don't know why they're doing that. That's what they're doing. Now, if that person said, okay, well, this is how I do things, right? And now you amazed and want to do the same thing, right? You know, now you want to have your own spirit guide. You want to feed your own entity, your own ancestor. And they say, okay, yeah, I can help you because they seem knowledgeable. You know, you can mess yourself up just by doing that without you even knowing. Now here you are, you feel like, okay, this person know what they're doing, so you kind of want them to do the same thing. And let me a little FYI warning: everything I speak about is things that I've did myself, things that I've witnessed, mistakes that I've made, and I'm saying these things to prevent someone else to. I'm not saying you can't do them, but just be mindful and ask as much questions as you know you should, because I wish I had someone like me and make these type of videos to kind of warn people, to kind of educate people in certain ways before making certain agreements with certain entities or certain spirits or certain law. So anyways, so now that person is doing something for you. Rather they come in and do an altar for you with a bunch of pictures that represent Yamaya, Orisha, Ezili Danto, Ezili Frida. They looks not. Some of them looks nothing like you whatsoever. But they, example, they're doing an altar for you, and they have all these things, and you not doing your homework on your bloodline, and you just open a portal to something that you have no knowledge about, because at some point maybe someone down your bloodline didn't want this type of practice in their bloodline. Maybe that was something that was forbidden, but you didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? And you did it anyways. And again, when you go to certain dances and in spiritual events, whatever someone is doing, that's for them. That's what works for them. Don't mistake that. Don't mistake that for you. Don't think like, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it too, or I should do it too, or whatnot. No, you got to find your own self. You got to know what works for you and what does not work for you. Just because it worked for someone else, that person might have a different type of agreement with different type of entity, and you know nothing about. So what I'm trying to say is, even when you do get initiated to any covenant or anything, you need to find yourself. You need to go heal yourself. You need to separate yourself and kind of know what direction should I take, and kind of know your own situation and how it represent you, or how that is in alignment, with you also before doing. The more of the story is, always try to tap into your own energy, your own intuition. Tap into yourself to know what is lying dormant inside of you. What do you have? What knowledge do you have within you that you can utilize, that you can share with the world? The only way for you to know yourself, you gotta, one, isolate, distance yourself for a little bit, heal yourself, and then to actually hear your entities, hear spirit, hear God speak to you. You can't hear or understand anything if you around a bunch of people. And another thing too, if you, after you get initiated and every little thing that goes wrong in your life, you feel like you have to go and get help, you have to, at some point, you have to stand on your own. You have to be able to stand on your own to do things. That's how you will recognize your own power, is you going through certain things, you going through certain challenges and actually overcoming them. You understand? Especially when it comes to, the elders. Sometimes some elders, they don't want to take advice from someone that is, let's say, newly initiated. They feel like you just taking their spot, or they feel intimidated by you, or they will feel like you they shouldn't be taking any advice from you. But what they doesn't understand is that you're probably a little bit more connected than them. And sometimes the reason why someone has been in the field, like the spirituality field, for a very long time, and you haven't really seen not too much progress, along the line, they've done things. They've done certain spells, and I know I talk about this all the time. Others, they don't want to take advice from someone younger than them or this new generation, because they're so full of themselves. They feel like what they've been doing has been working, one, and they feel like they have a lot of experience underneath their belt. But what they don't realize is, knowledge is infinite. You always learning. There's always more that you can learn from. And a lot of times what really mess us up, especially in the spiritual world, especially when it comes to voodoo, is that the older people feel like their age, their experience, it's important in the spiritual realm. That doesn't mean nothing. You can be 50 years old and a grown woman body. You can have 50 years, 60 years of experience, spirituality experience. A new soul, that's just in an older body. You understand? In the spiritual world, that don't mean nothing. Just because you're 50, 60 with a bunch of spiritual experience, you can still be a baby soul just in a human body. So it doesn't really mean anything. A baby, which is in a baby body, like a younger person in in a younger body, but that younger person, physical, has an old soul, could teach you more than someone in an older body that still have a younger soul. That's what a lot of people don't understand. When you're taking advice from certain elders, know the difference. Don't look at the physical. Pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to the advice they're giving you. It will tell you what type of soul they have. Is it a old soul or is it a new soul?